actually first with that.
I forgot to mention, everyone watching this episode gets a free copy of this episode. You're supposed to clap. You're supposed to clap.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
It's big news.
Right. Nintendo is next. They unveiled their 3DS and their upcoming lineup of games. Rich, what did you think about the Big N at E3?
Well, Bri, the Big N, okay, so I start watching the conference Tuesday morning. That morning I wake up, I'm pumped about Sony. But, Nintendo, man, they came through. They
saved E3.
They saved E3. They had a fantastic show. It was just like this was their conference, right? They were like, all right, hey, how's it going? We're Nintendo. Game. 3DS. Game.
Yeah,
done.
And then see you later. We were like, ah.
The conference was phenomenal. However, I will say this though. To me, personally, I think the conference was amazing. Don't get me wrong. It's the best one at E3. But to me, I think it's slightly overrated just because I'm not interested in a lot of the games they showed. But the fact that they showed games that I know other people will love. Okay, love. I mean, these were awesome games. Don't get me wrong. They were awesome games. Just me personally, I'm not going to buy most of them.
Right.
But it was an awesome conference. I give Nintendo a lot
Let's talk
of
about
credit.
those games, though. Zelda, I felt bad for Miyamoto because he had the technical difficulties on stage.
Yeah.
There's no way, I don't buy that game is unrushed because there's no way Nintendo was going to show an unpolished product.
Yeah.
I completely buy that there was problems on stage. That aside, I like the art style, but it seems like it's still Zelda.
Right, I got to say, one of the reasons why I just had my disclaimer about Nintendo is because, you can't overlook the fact that this game, to me, is very disappointing. Technical difficulties aside, if the stress of this game is about just fully controlling his shield and his sword, and that's the big thing, the new innovation, I'm not down with it, man. It didn't look like something. I thought I was going to be blown away by a new Zelda. They were so quiet about it. They were so secretive, and it just did not blow me away.
But let's go on to the other stuff. They bust out Retro Studios, the makers of Metroid Prime, are working on Donkey Kong Country.
That's awesome.
2D. Looks sick,
Yeah,
Rich.
I'm buying that.
That looks sick.
Donkey Kong Country was awesome back in the day.
Sakurai, my boy,
Yeah.
who made Smash Brothers and Meteos on the DS, Kirby,
That looks awesome,
Epic
too.
Yarn, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That was one of the best games of the show. That art style is phenomenal.
Yeah, it looked like markers, right?
No, it was like yarn. It was thread.
Yeah.
And then they showed all this really cool gameplay where he's peeling up across layers. He's going behind.
It was crazy.
And then they showed Epic Mickey that brought out Warren Spector on stage, the guy who made Deus Ex, and it looks like it's Deus Ex platforming.
Yeah.
He was stressing the fact of game design. It was cool to see someone up there and not to be like, this is cool. I want to give you choices in games.
Mm. Epic Mickey looked really cool. I mean, those games, Donkey Kong Country, Kirby, and Epic Mickey, I will probably buy.
At least admit, when you heard the Metroid music, you got hyped.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from, if the game's going to be good or not, but the
Definitely. No, that looks cool, too. I mean, look, bottom line is,
yeah. They knew what Sony and Microsoft were doing.
you got to think back, though. No, yeah, they were this was very calculated. This was very premeditated.
So smart.
Very smart of them to come out. They knew exactly what was going to go on, and they did a great job. However, if we look back the past 2 years, right?
Yeah, they were terrible.
Terrible. Super Mario Galaxy 2, right?
Yeah.
So the reason, oh my God, Nintendo came out, oh, it was amazing, is because the last 2 years there was nothing. So this is what they've been doing. We finally get to see why we've been waiting all this time, because they're just gonna have a flood of games. But Bri, GoldenEye. What are we supposed to make of this?
I don't know. I was like, and then I was like, wait, this is probably gonna stink.
It's made by Activision. What's going on here?
It's just.
What are we supposed to expect?
I don't know what to expect. It's just a lot of nostalgia going on. I felt like we were transported back to 1997, the great year. Let's move on to 3DS, Rich. They busted out. Iwata came on stage like a pimp, talking all slow. This thing can take 3D pictures. Its top screen is actually 3D. The bottom screen is not.
Yeah.
The pixel count is higher. And everyone on the show floor on Twitter was saying the 3D effect is phenomenal. And Nintendo very smartly added a 3D slider on the side so you can change how much the 3D depth works. Rich, the 3DS looks insane. I'll tell you why. I'm going to keep going real quick. I'll tell you why it looks insane to me. The 3DS is out PSPing the PSP. This thing is going to be what the PSP wanted to be because it's going to have every PS2, GameCube, and Xbox game ported to it.
Yeah.
It looks
That's what it
unreal.
looks like.
This is going to have the most insane launch lineup of all time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Why did I just sound like a New Yorker?
I don't know. Of all time. Go drink some coffee. Bri, let me talk about the negatives first with the 3DS.
Yeah.
So, first of all, as we all know, I'm not a huge handheld gamer. However, I will say this. I'm buying the 3DS. It looks amazing. The games lineup looks just ridiculous. The negatives. One, I wish the top screen was actually a little bigger.
I agree.
If they were going to make it bigger, I wish that they made it like even bigger than it is. Two, I don't want to say underwhelmed, but a little underwhelmed with the graphical power, just because all the rumors were saying like they were really hyping up the graphical power. To me, it looks like maybe a little better than the current PSP. However, that doesn't matter because the current PSP is sick graphically, and those games looked amazing for a handheld. So those are the negatives. The positives: game lineup, Metal Gear Solid 3 being remade, Ocarina of Time being remade, and
Star Fox, Mario Kart, Pilot Wings.
To me, the selling point, Brian, which is a weird selling point, is the joystick, man.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
It looks so nice. It looks so nice because on handheld, I mean, that's one of my pet peeves with handhelds is that the control, either the D-pad or the little nub on the PSP, it just doesn't feel right. That looked like it was nice, Brian. I'm gonna love it.
No, the game line is crazy. Let's talk about graphics real quick, though. No one knows because Nintendo, like Apple these days, does not release specs. They don't say what's in there,
That's weak,
what's
right?
going on. People have to strip it down.
Yeah.
It sounds like the nerds are saying, polygon-wise, it's probably at the Dreamcast level.
Yeah.
But updated graphical effects-wise, it's almost more powerful than the Wii. It's got normal mapping. It's got all these kind of crazy stuff. And we got to think about that. Metal Gear Solid 3 looks already phenomenal.
It looks great.
When Metal Gear Solid 3 came out on the PS2, that was 5 years after the PS2 came out.
Yeah.
So think about what's going to be happening on the system
In
after
a few years. Yeah.
And they busted out Kid, Icarus, also Splinter Cell, Chaos Theory. And this is such another brilliant move by Nintendo. They got Apple breathing down their neck. So what do? They release a system for gamers.
Yeah.
But we'll still have the casual support. But the thing is, all these AAA titles will not be on iPhone. You're not going to be able to get this on iPhone.
Right.
So this is how they're combating it.
Look, honestly, in my opinion, I still don't think Nintendo and Apple are even competing right now.
Yeah?
I really don't. Nobody is buying an iPhone or an iPod for games. They're buying an iPhone or an iPod for a phone or an iPod, and they just happen to buy games on it because you can play games on it. I mean, if you're going to play handheld video games, you're not deciding between the two. I own both. You own both. Matt owns both. I mean, you're not deciding. To me, they're not competing at all. I mean, the iPhone is such like on a lower level in terms of games that it's not even funny, Brian.
I'm giving Nintendo a straight up A-. Straight up A-.
I'm giving Nintendo, in the overall history of E3, I give them like. In the overall history of E3, I give them a B/B+. For this E3, I give them an A-. Which I also had written down.
A similar score. Interesting. We're going to take a quick break. We come back, we discuss Sony, and we play a little good, bad, or ugly. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Be sure to subscribe to TWiGames.com via RSS, iTunes, YouTube, and Twitter. That's TWiGames.com.